You too. We're back. Hope y'all had a great weekend. Pretty much gonna be going over the trade I had today. As you guys can see, it was a little Debski. Ended up making 482 across five funded, so about 2,500, give or take. Pretty much gonna go over my thought process going today. As always, highlight everything inside my Discord. Just gonna show you guys the outlook I had real quick. I'm just gonna pretty much do top down analysis of why I was looking for what I was looking for. So yeah, starting off in the outlook, I said watching to see if we had a 4 hour CRT. Regardless, I want price to come to this 4 hour and give us the price action we need to confirm a direction. Because I was a little mixed bias going today, but yeah, unfilled fair value gaps are very good at target, and yeah, so pretty much starting off on the monthly, right? We had that crazy sell off on Friday. That was about 1,000 point move on Nasdaq. But this drop ended up taking out all these lows we had and tapping this weekly fair value gap. You see, we did inverse that. Keep that in mind. On NQ, we just tapped it and closed above it. So yeah, kind of going into the month, I don't want to predict anything just because we're at all-time highs. But keep notice, we still have this no bottom wick. We have all these lows that haven't been taken, so that possibly could happen. But just depending on the news we are gonna get, we'll just depend that. So yeah, so there's that going into the day. Right, we do have this bearish for value gap. Keep that in mind, which we did tap. So like now going into overnight session, right? We took out previous day highs. Me and Ashton were talking about this last night, but yeah, he said high to low time for mouse. This week is bearish. But yeah, so like I said, looks good for a push lower. This was last night. Just took out previous day highs. We should see what happens overnight. So pretty much just dumped overnight. So yeah, that tweet was about somewhere up here. So dumped overnight. Tap this and WOG, right? The new week opening gap. Tap this, right? Have this unfilled 4 hour on both assets. And we never really had the 4 hour CRT on NQ, but on ES we did, right? And regardless if we are bearish on ES, we should at least come up to here, creating the S&T to fuel us lower. So regardless, I'm pretty bullish to the 4 hour for my gap. So yeah, pretty much going to the morning, right? Manipulated down at 9:30. The only thing I didn't like is we didn't really have like an S&T, which I usually need for my trade. Don't think we had one with YM either. Yeah, no. So yeah, keep that in mind. So right, I usually do trade Nasdaq. I'd have some exceptions, right? Today being one. So you can see, the breaker on Nasdaq isn't all the way up here, right? But on ES, right, the 5 minute breaker is all the way up here, or right here. So, right, this is just better for me. So all I'm looking for is literally a 5 minute breaker to form, or break a structure, whatever you call it. And then I'm just looking for 3, 4, 5 minute for value gap, which you can see we can form a 3 minute. Pretty much entered here, right? This is this is during the 1050 macro, or 950 to 1010, but ended here, whatever. But yeah, stop loss wise, right? The target's easy, right? This is your low hanging fruit. We also have no top wicks on these candles, so these are very good at target. And yeah, this is why you enter on 3 minutes, because like you can see we never tap this 5 minute, but I pretty much had my stop loss below this 5 minute for value gap. So what I was thinking is, right, we don't have the S&T, and if NQ is the weaker pair, then right when we get this S&T here, then NQ, right, could have a reasoning to come lower, tapping this for value gap, creating the SMT to push higher, right? And the SMTs are formed by NQ taking out, or ES or NQ taking out a low, and ES not taking the other. So right, I'm pretty much just saying the SMT would pretty much be at this 5 minute. So on ES, we wouldn't want this to get tapped. I'll also overlap into the first presented. So those are good reasonings, right, for my stop loss placement. And then pretty much just targeting this high, which is about a 1.88 RR. Just your low hanging fruit, right? I'm a little mixed bias, so I'm not going to hope for higher, right? I'm just going to take what I can get. Because if we are bearish, you can see what's happening now is, we took out the high, right? And now we're, starting to lower. We also opened high on 11, right? So like this could be another good spot for, breakers, right? Because we have the S&T, right? Breakers about to form. But obviously zooming out, like, I don't know what you're really targeting, unless it's a end wog fill. But yeah, that's pretty much what I had going today. And then usually, depending on like my account size and where my balance is at, just depends on if I leave runners, because, right, this is your next target, right? Unfilled 1 hour. And yeah, so depending on my account balance, obviously right now I'm just got out of drawdown, so right, what I really should do is just take the low hanging fruit, which I took today. But if my account balance is bigger and I have drawdown, then yeah, I could scale some here and leave runners, which what if give me more money. But just for right now, I'm just taking what I can get. As you guys see, last week it was a little rough. This is a good trade. Took a loss, took a dub. These days, should have banked, but it's all good. I kept my risk low, right? I'm pretty proud of myself because most people, they would crash the fuck out. After missing out on 14K, was 5K here, and then 1,500 times 7,500. People would crash out, like, no cap. People would lose a lot more than what they could have gained. But looked forward because I know, the way I trade, I know that I'm able to, produce wins. So if I just keep losses small, right, these are pretty much break-even days. Losses small, and then when the winner comes, these outdo this, Like, this outdoes this. This is what, $120? I could have 4 of these and break even with one trade. You know what I'm saying? So you can still see, my trade wins. Well, this kind of counts for like partials and shit. Not really accurate, but yeah. So risk reward's good. Up on these accounts. So yeah, we'll see what this week brings. Pretty much looking at the news, right? Still the government shut down, so we're going to, stay patient. We have all this tentative news on Thursday. So pretty much, right, for my strategy at least, my strategy banks on, distribution and banks on expansion, because in reversals, right? So pretty much, I don't know if I highlighted this in another video, but say this is your weekly candle, right? You have a top and a bottom of it, because that's how all candles are formed, right? Most of the time, this will be Monday, right? Most of the time, this will be Tuesday through Thursday, and most of the time, this will be Friday, right? So, right, if my strategy banks on expansion, right, I'm trading Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Especially with the news we have this week. Usually if we have news on Monday, I'll trade, but we had a bank holiday, so obviously you're going to take that off. Today, I don't really give a fuck about this, honestly. Wednesday is still middle of the week, and Thursday, yeah. And then Friday, won't be trading. But that's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoy this trade recap. Hopefully you guys took a dub today. Pretty straightforward for the most part. But hopefully you were able to take something from this video, learn a little bit. And yeah, I'll see you guys later in the week. I'll be if I don't take a trade, Wednesday and Thursday, I'll upload a market recap. I only do market recaps if the market's good. But if we just consolidate and don't do shit, I'm not going to post a recap. But that's pretty much it. See you guys later on this week. You have a blessed week. Don't lose your capital. Conserve it, because days are going to get better, especially when the government opens back up. So that's all I have for today. See you guys later this week. Peace.